So as I talked about a lot recently, when the Chris Tyson thing went down, the Ava Chris Tyson situation, one criticism a lot of people made of Critical was that he was running from the allegations. He was refusing to cover it because Chris is trans. That was a big allegation made against him. And I think that was pretty quickly proven to be false, but this same criticism was also extended to Ludwig Agren, who runs the Mogul Mail commentary channel where he covers breaking news stories and stuff like that. There was this very prevalent narrative, I would say, that big YouTubers who were friends with Mr. Beast, or people who didn't want to ruin their relationship with his brand, would not talk about what happened because they didn't want to ruin their future relationship with his brand. They wouldn't talk about it because they didn't want to ruin future collaborations and business connections with him. Basically the idea that the people at the top are all protecting Mr. Beast.
I can't be the only person who's scared of Mr. Beast.
And once again, there was also, of course, this idea that because of the whole trans issue, people are going to cover up for Ava Chris Tyson because they are transgender and don't want to look transphobic. Cheeto, a commentary channel you guys probably know because I've collabed with him and I'm his friend, said, "Hey Ludwig, are you planning on covering this definitive predatory behavior that Chris Tyson has engaged in? You made videos talking about Dr. Disrespect immediately after information came out." He's really calling him out here, saying that he's got a big conflict of interest here that's being shown by his refusal to cover this. And this tweet got a lot of attention. A lot of people echoed the same criticism. So Ludwig responded saying, "My video literally came out 2 days after Charlie's, not immediately after information came out. I waited for Doc's statement on Twitter and on my stream and his removal from Midnight Society. I'm literally in Paris with my family. Why are y'all MFers so horny for a statement?" And then he showed the dates there and everything seems to line up. On June 4th, 2024, one day before Doc's response, Ludwig made a video about the allegations where he had a relatively neutral stance.
Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that the allegations are true, but it does mean that that is likely the reason why Twitch banned Doc. And I think Doc himself verified that information.
Ludwig also claimed that this video was posted late compared to most people, which is true. His first video about this was posted 2 days after Charlie's. It's crazy that on the internet 24 to 48 hours is late, but that is the reality of things these days with how fast moving things are. One day later, Doc posts his response where he basically admits to it, and then Ludwig makes a video condemning him, which is how these things should go. You say what you can prove, leave the rest open-ended, and when you get an update, you post the final conclusion. It's exactly what I did when I was covering the Doc situation on stream and in my videos. I would make one video when, we had some information, and then I post another video when we had Doc's confession and talk about that and what I thought about that. I think that's the best way to cover allegations like this because you don't want to preemptively, release a video about something and then you end up being proven wrong and then you get right because you slandered someone. But Cheeto still believed that Ludwig was covering for Mr. Beast and covering for Chris Tyson. He writes, "You were awfully quick to post 2 videos on the topic, just making sure creators keep the same energy across the board on predatory behavior. I don't know if that's being horny for a statement. I know you and Mr. Beast are buddy-buddies, so perhaps it would be inconvenient to post something that can negatively impact his brand. I appreciate the response." Now, I think this is a relatively fair criticism to make of Ludwig in general because he has literally covered for his friends like Hassan in the past and straight up deleted videos when he thought that they were upset at him. But realistically, in any situation, you need proof in that particular scenario that they are lying or doing something dishonest. And that's what I'm looking for here. So Ludwig responds again and he says, "I wasn't quick. I was days later than most people, which I just proved. I waited for enough information from both sides to make an informed video. Do you think that's a bad thing to do?" And no, it's not a bad thing to do. Honestly, it's the best thing to do and what you should do. With quickly developing situations, you can ultimately look like a hack. You can accidentally slander someone unintentionally if you jump to conclusions too quickly. So it can be best to wait to make sure you have the full story before you make a judgment on the situation. And especially with how crazy the Chris stuff was, where you had first the Shadman history drop and then the Prism video about the weird tweets. And then there was also fake DMs on Twitter, which weren't even from Chris. The people were claiming were real, which wasn't the case. And then you had Nathan come out with a Discord log saying he would release them. And then eventually he did drop them all a little time after that. This is a very quickly developing situation with things constantly changing. So I think in that particular situation, it doesn't hurt to wait until you make one big video about it, I mean, I've been covering that situation here on this channel as I cover, each little part of it coming out, including the real allegations against Chris Tyson, as well as the false one that was made by that one person. And I'm intent on covering it here, kind of daily because that's what I want to do. But the thing is, I don't expect everyone to do that. And there's also a reason why I haven't made a video on my main channel about all of this, right? Because we didn't have the full story and we still might not. There could be other stuff that comes out. At a certain point, I respect the idea that there's enough information to make a judgment on someone because sometimes you don't need more proof. But when you don't have it all and you don't have the full story and every single day it's changing drastically, it's okay to wait. So Ludwig has a very big Twitter following. Cheeto doesn't have a nearly as big Twitter following. And as a result, Ludwig was able to brutally ratio him. He got a lot of his fans to on him in his replies and be like, you're dumb, whatever. And Cheeto then shows a DM of someone he claims is a Ludwig fan saying something not very nice. And then Ludwig decides to pull out a DM of Cheeto from 3 years prior saying that he is his favorite streamer. And this is kind of a funny thing to post. I can't say that I would never do that to own someone on Twitter, but I don't like the implication some people have said that this invalidates Cheeto's criticism because he was a fan of him 3 years years ago. I don't really think that means anything. But even, without that, I think Cheeto was still wrong with his initial claims about Ludwig, honestly. And in all fairness, he was also very petty with posting that DM from the start to make it look like Ludwig's fans are all unhinged, right? And in response, Ludwig brought the same level of pettiness, which I think is pretty fair. Unfortunately, Ludwig is not very consistent on this issue when it comes to having a mean DM from someone, because he immediately claimed that one mean DM he got was from Destiny's community while also refusing to name him, of course, despite the fact he had no proof. So it is kind of Lud getting a taste of his own medicine here.
Hey man, love your streams. They help me out a lot when I'm bored or sad. When I have disposable income one day, I'll give you a few shekels a month. And has since moved on, I think, clearly to like watching Destiny, and on Destiny's behalf wants to like make Hassan's life a lot worse. And then
what a dick suck comment. Ludwig is like such a decently cool person, other than the fact that he's such a spineless and carries so much water. I don't know if it's like a cloud obsession thing or if he legitimately just enjoys getting his ass rimmed by Hassan every day. But like, it's especially frustrating because Ludwig knows better. I think that's the thing that frustrates me the most about this. Ludwig is a large content creator. I'm pretty sure he's like a larger content creator than me. I'm pretty sure he has a ton of different platforms and like he's got a ton of reach. He knows how irresponsible and stupid it is to take one DM and pretend that it is exemplary or exemplifies an entire fan's fan base or an entire streamer's fan base.
Now, Cheeto decided to make a 40-minute long video on his channel where he goes over what happened. A lot of it is kind of retreading his tweets and stuff like that, but he does give some takes.
People who usually talk about allegations and things of this sort, very serious situations, have been noticeably silent on this. Like Ludwig on his Mogul Mail channel, Moist Critical had made a video on it. He did address it on stream last night, and he does plan on making a video on it, which we'll get into. But the way that people have been ignoring this has been, to me, a big sign of maybe a few things. That one, people, big influencers specifically, don't want to blackball themselves from Mr. Beast. They don't want to burn the Mr. Beast bridge. They understand that by attacking someone who's been so largely associated with the Mr. Beast brand that perhaps they would be doing themselves a disservice, that it would be inconvenient for their business relationship with Mr. Beast as an influencer, or what could be a business relationship, by doing that. By attacking Chris Tyson, you're attacking an extension of the Mr. Beast brand.
I think, once again, this is kind of dumb. I mean, obviously that could be the case, but I got to see some proof of that in the form of behavior. Obviously, Ludwig is never going to come out and say, I want to protect Mr. Beast, so I won't talk about this. He wouldn't do that if he was protecting him, and I know that. I'm not expecting that to be the proof that I need. But you still need a little more than a few days before you can determine if Ludwig is like being silent about the issue to protect Mr. Beast. And I think this is proven to be more than wrong, considering Ludwig did make a video about it in the end, and he talked about everything. And I, to this day, like I said, have yet to post one full conclusive video about the Chris stuff, and the reason why it's taken so long, like I was supposed to get that video out like a week ago on the main channel. The reason why is because we keep posting updates and having to ratify the script because there's so many different things happening. I want that video to age well. It's going out to 1 million people. I'd like to make it the best it can be. And even at the start of the allegations, when all we had was the Shadman stuff, I obviously called Chris a disgusting, horrible person, but I didn't say they definitively groomed a minor yet because I needed more proof, right? I needed to see proof of them doing that. And, things have definitely changed in that way, I think. But I still think it's good to give YouTubers some leeway, and even on top of that, I mean, Ludwig said he was in Paris with his family on Twitter in regards to all this, and he just didn't want to jump on it. And I think that's totally fair. Like, some YouTubers, and I do mean some, do have lives outside of YouTube stuff where they have obligations that just take precedence over making commentary videos about something, right? Ludwig was in Paris with his family vacationing, and that's evident from the recording that his video eventually had on the Chris Tyson stuff. I don't expect him to rush to get a video out. Like, when I'm on vacation, to be honest, sometimes I'll make a video, but sometimes I'm like, I don't want to deal with this right now. I'm hanging out with my dad and my mom. Sometimes you just don't want to do it, right? I don't expect everyone to rush to get a video out right away. And this point was kind of further proven wrong, in my opinion, when Ludwig even watched the Dogpack 404 video live that accused Mr. Beast of being involved in illegal gambling.
So here's a clip of Tyler maybe not forging, using Mr. Beast's signature. So Tyler signs MB, which is Mr. Beast's signature. Then he covers it, signs his own initials, TC, smirks, looks around, and then quickly slides the shirt away. Could you make it any more obvious? You don't act.
no, that's wrong. That's wrong. Okay? I'll say that. That's wrong. Because, like when I had the Patreon postcards that I had to sign every single month, I never once asked Nick Yingling to help sign alongside me to get through them quicker. I said, no, Nick, I'm doing them all.
Now, Ludwig didn't agree with a lot of the video about Mr. Beast, but he's not exactly covering it up. I mean, he's literally letting his giant audience see it, many of which are probably fans of Mr. Beast and had a positive impression of him. I mean, he did a stream that got 500,000 views on the VOD talking about it. And the most frustrating part about this is that we do have proof that Ludwig has done this in the past. Like, there is a great example to bring up to criticize him for. Ludwig made a very light joke about Hassan and used him for a clickbait thumbnail, and Hassan had a breakdown over it.
As a streamer myself for almost 6 years now, on how hard it really is. I'm kidding. I would look. I just.
Oh God, it's just like. What's funny is you haven't even addressed this again since then. I know. It's just an opportunity for every single person to be like, look, guys, I'm a content creator. I'm really privileged. Like, yeah, dog, we all are. We all talk about it all the fucking time. It just annoys me because, like, it's such a fake thing to do. It's just literally using someone who you're friends with, like being maliciously clipped out of context to be like, I'm actually one of the good content creators. I know how privileged I am. It's like, yeah, I do too. That's so dumb. Oh my God.
And then you can see Ludwig react to Hassan being mad in real time.
You should call Hassan and apologize. Why is Hassan mad? What did I do? What'd I do? Because I'm a mogul male? I feel like everything I said was fine. Am I crazy? Farmed for views? Oh, well, I mean, that's the deal. I'll just pull him out of the thumbnail, and then I feel like it doesn't really matter much, right?
And he then ended up taking down the video and remaking it. Like, he didn't just change the thumbnail. He took down the entire video and remade it. And then he lied about the reason he took the video down, claiming that the sponsor was mad because it wasn't performing well, which is obviously just not true. And frankly, considering that Ludwig wants to be Mr. Journalism, which he talks about all the time, this is a hit to his integrity. It really is. But this instance with Hassan was like so dead to rights. Like, you can't deny that. The Mr. Beast thing, I don't know. It just seems kind of dumb. I feel like I'm lacking substance here to make that criticism.
I know you and Mr. Beast are buddy-buddy, so perhaps it would be inconvenient to post something that can negatively impact his brand. Appreciate the response. So if you guys don't know what I'm referring to here, Mr. Beast and Ludwig do have a buddy-buddy relationship, like I mentioned. I've brought this up in some videos where I've been critical of Ludwig before, but you have to see where, like, his biggest video, I believe, is one that Mr. Beast literally gave him. Like, it was a scrapped Mr. Beast video. I buried $100,000. Go find it. And it's literally a scrapped Mr. Beast video. Has 16 million views, and this has more than double the views of his second biggest video. It's more views than his 2 other biggest videos combined, right? It's Mr. Beast. Now, that being said, if I'm going to be as charitable as I can, I don't think that just because, you know, Mr. Beast gave him a video that because of that, Ludwig wouldn't call out predatory behavior done by Chris Tyson. However, he's arguing with me on Twitter about it rather than getting on this case. And he talks about he's in Paris, you know, I'm in Paris right now. Like he's fucking Kanye West or something. But I've literally seen this guy make videos traveling like all the time. And I'll prove it to you. This whole like I'm on vacation thing is like what? Like, buddy, I've seen you post content while you're on the road before, and so like it's just like why even bring that up if we can prove that it's not something that would stop you from covering this, you know?
Well, maybe he's just taking a break. Maybe he actually wants to spend time with his family at the moment instead of covering the Chris Tyson situation. Like, I don't think just because on vacations prior he's made videos means that he has to right now on this vacation. Like, I think it's completely fair of him to not cover it at the very moment if he doesn't want to. Once again, I kind of like, I want to hate Ludwig. I kind of want this criticism to be real because I don't like him, but like, I can't lie and just say like, yo, he's cooked. Like, I just don't think he is. Like, the dude is the Ellen DeGeneres of YouTube. He's got an annoying, safe personality, and I don't like him. Okay, frankly, I just don't really like him as like a guy that exists. I find it very unappealing. But I'm gonna need a super strong indicator here that he's covering for Chris and covering for Mr. Beast before I, you know, make an accusation video about it, and I don't really have that. So when Ludwig finally talked about this whole Chris Tyson thing, he said he'd be posting a follow-up video about the backlash he got from it, obviously in reference to a Cheeto.
I'm gonna make a video in the next couple days on this channel because I had a lot of come my way about taking too long to make this while on vacation with my family. But that's a story for a different day. Hopefully that fills you in. Thank you all for watching. Goodbye. All right, see you later. Goodbye now. Goodbye. See you later. Goodbye now.
And frankly, like I said, I also empathize with his position that he wants to wait for allegations to be proven 100% dead to rights before he makes a strong judgment. Because, I mean, think about it this way, right? With the size that he's at 1 million subscribers on that channel, with how big his other channel is, and how many views that video that he posts about someone could potentially get, like if he lies, if he gets something wrong, he opens himself up straight up to like a defamation lawsuit, right? Like he straight up just does. Like he could get
Lazy Ludwig. Well, here's the pedos in Paris. Well, here's the thing: is it's like you just can't utilize that excuse, because we can all agree the Pokemon cookies thing is way less of a situation than Chris Tyson's predatory behavior. So you'd think the exception for him would be like, huh, yeah, I am in Paris and this is supposed to be my vacation, but I do understand how it looks that I've taken time out of my vacation before to cover a situation. So let me not do that again for a situation that's much more serious. Make it make sense. I don't understand that. Can you elaborate on what the decision making here? Like, what is the brain apparatus? Like, what sort of system is taking place here where you're going to cover the room temperature Pokemon cookies YouTube drama, but not the explosive Mr. Beast co-host predatory drama? Please explain this to me.
Look, maybe this is just like a difference of opinion here, but I don't really hold YouTubers to the standard where they like need to make a video about this thing right now. Like I don't know, if I don't feel like making a video about something someday and it's just not something that interests me, like I might just not cover it, okay? I'm not the president of the United States. I don't feel like I need to care about everything that happens. Like, and by extension, I honestly get annoyed when people are like in my chat or emailing me like, talk about this thing that I care about, talk about this thing you need to talk about. Like, dude, like I'm not your dad. Like, I'm not responsible for you. Like, go watch someone else do it. Like, now if you can find an example of Ludwig making this same point to someone else where he's like, they need to cover it, they need to cover it, they need to cover it, and he's not covering it, then that would be fair, but he also did make videos about it, so it's like, it's kind of over, right? Like, it's kind of over at this point. Ultimately, I think that Cheeto's heart and motivations were in the right place here. I really do, and I think that this is a fair criticism to definitely make of certain people out there. But with Ludwig in specific, I don't really see it, just like I didn't see it with Critical, right? So like I said, Ludwig said he'd be doing a follow-up eventually to all the criticism about this whole thing, and he eventually did, talking about how he no longer enjoys posting commentary videos, actually. But he actually didn't really mention Cheeto at all. Instead, he talked about how he didn't enjoy making commentary videos anymore because he doesn't like talking about controversial stuff. And this is kind of the same thing that Critical said in his video, where there's just like a lot of negativity out there.
And I'll tell you straight up, it's not a lot of fun to talk about these topics. I don't personally enjoy, I don't revel in it when Dr. Disrespect is caught talking to a 17-year-old on Whispers, all right? When Sketch is getting canceled for doing gay, when Ava Chris Tyson is found out to be a horrible person, or when Cody Ko is silent about having had a sexual relationship with Tana when she was 17. I don't like talking about these things. It's not like a big mood lifter for my day. But when I don't talk about them, even for a day, I get a lot of shit. Now, I'm not trying to bring up some Twitter. I'm not trying to bring in certain people's names into this. But this is a straight up real tweet that someone added me saying, hey, Ludwig, are you planning on covering the definitive predatory behavior that Chris Tyson engaged in? You've made videos talking about Dr. Disrespect immediately after the information came out. That has 30,000 likes, all right? 30,000 likes on something that is just factually false, because I didn't immediately talk about Dr. Disrespect. I talked about it days after it came out when he was dropped by his game publishing company. I waited for some sort of response, and he also had talked about it on stream at that point. I actually waited the same amount of time to talk about Ava Chris Tyson, even though I did that video when I was in Paris on vacation with my family on my damn Samsung.
I hate that I even have to add the disclaimer that I like don't want to glaze Ludwig here, but like this is totally fair. Like not everyone likes talking about freaks online or all the weird shit that goes on, especially when it comes to children being preyed on. And if you talk about it for a decent amount of time, it can definitely, you know, affect your mental health, right? I personally don't really care. I feel relatively disconnected from this stuff, sitting in my basement here with my fuzzy socks on. But to each their own, you know, the mental sapping that may come from being exposed to that kind of stuff all the time may not be for everyone, and you might not want to do it forever either. Maybe there will come a day when I don't like it either. But for now, I love it, and I'm going to keep doing it forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever.
All right? And the Cody Ko situation is something that not people on the outside are pestering me to talk about. It's people in my community, and I understand why. Right? I've done content with Cody in the past. There's some perception that we are close friends. The fact of the matter is, after I did his podcast 10, 11, 12 months ago, I haven't talked to the dude since. But I kind of have like that teacher syndrome where you just assume that teachers exist only inside the school and not outside the school. And inside the school, you know, me and Cody work in the same building. So hey, we must be good friends and I must be trying to protect him by not making a video. Now, obviously not everyone thinks this, but enough people think it that, you know, it feels problematic for me to not talk about said stuff.
The thing is, I don't think anyone has an obligation to talk about a situation just because they're friends with someone or have interacted with them. If anything, there can be a lot of problems that can come with that, right? There can be a lot of conflicts of interest there. I mean, there is an inherent conflict of interest because if you're friends with someone, like you know them, you have a personal relationship, you might not be covering it, you know, the best. You may have a clouded judgment, right? Because being friends with someone can easily make you want to protect them unintentionally or just trust their word over what someone else says and not see the facts for what they are, which is once again exactly what happened with the Hassan drama a few months back. I think ultimately what Ludwig decided is that his integrity at that moment was worth being compromised because he wants to maintain his friendship with Hassan. And if he didn't take down the video, Hassan would probably mauled at him for the next year.
There's a lot of reasons that I love this channel. I mean, the first one is that it's a totally different audience than my main channel. A lot of you guys don't even watch my main channel. I mean, the most often related channels are Jinxie, Atrioc, and PewDiePie. Those are what you guys watch. It's totally different if you go to my main channel. And when I went to DreamCon this past weekend, which is an event predominantly put on by Black creators and which has a lot of Black viewers attending, people who came up to me to say hi didn't come up because they watch my main channel. They came up because they watched Mogul Mail.
Well, I guess that explains why you guys love his videos so much. Mogul Mail stands with the African-American community. African-Americans stand with Ludwig. Their Yakubian creation has done exactly as planned. Ultimately, it seems like some of the big commentary creators are like losing steam right now. They're kind of losing their passion in the genre. And some of this seems to come down to like these call-outs that, in my opinion, in the case of like Ludwig and also Critical, kind of unjustified. Like I don't know. I just feel like I need more to prove that they're like refusing to talk about it or something like that, right? To prove that they're covering up for Chris Tyson because Chris is trans, right? Like I don't know, like I don't really see it. And then you also have some people who are kind of acting unhinged right now, and there's a lot of people I could talk about right now, but I'm going to focus on one of them, who is a channel you guys probably know, and it feels a little awkward doing this, but this is just like, I don't know, it's ridiculous, and I feel like I can't. I mean, honestly I could not mention it, but no, I want to because it's retarded. So a lot of YouTubers were reporting on these allegations when they came out, namely content creators A Cheeto and Sensitive Society. Okay, A Cheeto, we just talked about. Sensitive Society, you guys probably know. He's got a pretty big channel. And they had initially just made videos covering the Shadman discourse and condemn Chris for being such a huge fan of Shad and liking all that degenerate art, right? However, Lava, the 14-year-old whom Chris was talking to, who's now 20, he came out and made a statement contradicting the narrative, saying he wasn't a grooming victim. And he said this with a screenshot of these guys' videos, right? With a screenshot of A Cheeto's video and also a screenshot of Sensitive Society's video, basically saying like these videos are spreading lies, right? Here's his caption. He said, "These videos are massive lies and twisting the truth. Ava never did anything wrong and just made a few edgy jokes. I was never exploited or taken advantage of. Can you do me a favor and comment on these videos and tell them to stop spreading lies? This situation takes away from children who are being actively exploited every day online. I'm not a victim of anything being claimed in these videos at all." So obviously at some point Lava GS would walk back his general statement here a little bit. He would be like, you know what, I realized that what Chris did to me was definitely wrong. But the thing we're going to really hone in on here is that screenshot was from videos he'd never even seen, and in those videos they never even mentioned that Lava GS existed. Like they just talk about the Shadman stuff, which is, you know, it's not like totally unrelated to the Chris Tyson story. Like it's obviously part of it, but they don't even talk about Lava, right? They talk about the Shadman stuff. They're calling him creepy for the Shadman stuff. So Lava should have watched those videos beforehand before he made that tweet. And as a result, I think that it's fair to get, you know, a little mad at him about it if you're Sensitive Society and a Cheeto. And here we have Sensitive, who's another commentary channel, and he responded by pointing out that he himself never talked about the Lava situation, mainly focusing on the other aspects of Chris's questionable online activity and associations with Shadman. And like I said, that's totally fair. He has a complete right to be upset about this, okay? And a few people even messaged him, you know, messaged Lava to tell him this information was wrong and these videos didn't actually talk about that stuff. Nicholas Diorio, for example, messaged him to let him know that the tweet had improper info, and I think that's a fair thing to do. Lava should know that that's improper, and he ended up making a follow-up tweet about it, basically talking about, you know, the fact that these guys did not make those videos talking about him. They made videos talking about Shadman. So at least he corrected it, but these guys still wanted that tweet to be taken down. And from that perspective, I understand where they're coming from, and I think that's totally fair. But the problem is that Sensitive Society messaged Lava, and he looked kind of crazy. He said, "I've given you 24 hours. I've given you the benefit of the doubt. I've reached out multiple times and tried to be nice. You want to go there? Let's see how fun this gets you. Idiot. Stop slandering me and take your tweet down before things get bad for you." Bro really thinks he's Tony. But okay, like joking aside, like this is like such a weird thing to do. If you really believe that Lava is a victim of grooming at the hands of Chris Tyson, you should not be messaging this grooming victim, even though we got something wrong about you, saying you're going to destroy his like life and make things bad for him, like you're some threatening mob boss about to like what are you really going to do? Like what do you think you're going to do? Since you're going to like make a video about him? Is that like you're going to make things bad for him? Are you going to sue him? Are you going to sue this guy over this tweet that he made? Like it just seems kind of ridiculous, right? Like, and he didn't say he would sue him, but the implication here is like things are going to get bad for you. Like is the thing that we really need, is the priority here that really needs to be upheld, considering that like this guy is being talked about in this story is like the #1 victim of Chris Tyson, a grooming victim, is the #1 thing that you should be doing or like even thinking about, or should it even cross your mind that you want to like destroy this guy's life when he just like when Chris Tyson was doing weird shit with him? Like what? That just seems nuts to me, right? That doesn't seem like these priorities are really aligned in a proper way. This comes across as tone policing here. Maybe I'm being gay to say this, but really messaging this person specifically like this comes across as totally nuts to me. I like Sensitive Society as a dude from the limited interactions that I've had with him, but this kind of thing really rubs me the wrong way. And if you lack up a list of interactions you have with grooming victims where you talk to them like this, you're gonna have a very hard time looking credible on YouTube or claiming like you really care about these situations, right? It's hard to claim you want actual justice when you're also messaging the person who like is one of the only people that could possibly lead to that justice, being like, I'm gonna make things bad for you, kiddo. You know what I'm capable of? Like, it just looks crazy. It is crazy, actually. These priorities seem very misguided. What Chris Tyson has done is terrible. There's no doubt about that. I just want to make sure that everyone has their head screwed on straight and isn't acting nuts. And yeah, I think that's about it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, comment, let me know your thoughts. Was I wrong? Was I actually wrong? Let me know. Yeah, see you all tomorrow. Bye.
Whoa! 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 Whoa!